I'd like to share with you the vision that Daniel had in Daniel chapter 7. It's concerning 4 beasts that represent also 4 nations and empires. The very first beast that Daniel saw was the lion. What is interesting to note is that he's standing up as like a man, and he has a man's heart given unto it. The wings here are eagle's wings that have been plucked. And of course, the lion being the king of the jungle and the eagle being the chief birds of all the birds, you can see that the king of Babylon is seeing himself as being the chief person of all these nations. But that kingdom was replaced by the Medo-Persian kingdom, and that's represented by the bear. What is interesting to notice is that there's the 3 ribs in his mouth that represent the 3 conquests, and also you can see that the bear is leaning on one side. That is because the one nation was stronger than the other, and it's been picked up in this particular way. My favorite, of course, is the next that represents the Grecian Empire, and here we have one where it's been given 4 heads because the kingdom was divided up into 4 kingdoms, and it's also got the 4 wings of a fowl. I think that the leopard, being a very fast animal and having 4 wings, is showing the speed of conquest, and Alexander the Great certainly did a very fast conquest. The 4th beast that we have in Scripture looks like this. We don't have much to say about him, just that it's a great and terrible beast. But what we do know is that he has 10 horns. And so we've put on him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 horns. And in this particular vision, the 3 horns gave place to 1 horn. There we are. That had a mouth that spake great things. There's the prophetical interpretation of all of this is very important as well. I'll just put him back. So we know that the lion is the Babylonian Empire. We know that the bear is the Medo-Persian. And just to recap, that the leopard is the Grecian Empire. But the actual Roman Empire here, that has the 2 sections, the pagan and the papal Roman Empire. What we do know is that these 4 beasts came out of the sea. The sea is also symbolical of the whole world. So we're looking at actually empires that came out of that world. We can read the scripture that says, "These are great beasts, which are 4 kings that shall arise out of the earth." One of the important scriptures that I'd like to bring out is verse 21, where it says, "And I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them." And of course, we have that in the history of the persecution of Christians through the papal system. We also have another verse that's very similar to that, in verse 25, that says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and to think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a times and a dividing of time." What we see here is that this in history has been fulfilled in prophecy. Some people are looking for the great beast to do great terrible things to Christians in this day and age. But what we can see is that these things have already happened and have been fulfilled in times past. I'd like to read to you in Daniel chapter 7, verse 14. "And there was given him dominion and glory, and a kingdom, and all people and nations and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed." The next verse goes on to say in verse 16, "And I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made known the interpretation of these things. So the scripture then says, these great beasts, which are four kings that shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and as nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. What I've tried to have in this particular model is this great and terrible animal with great feet and great horns and great teeth, just to try to bring out that meaning of the scripture. And so you have in verse 20, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the others that came up, before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And this had problems for the Christians in that time of the papal system and the persecution. And it's noted in Scripture where it says, and I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints and of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. We can think about the 10 horns concerning verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are the 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So it's repeating this particular horn that replaces those 3 particular horns. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it even unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. One particular thing to notice is that these 4 kingdoms are the same 4 kingdoms as in Daniel chapter 2 that we've done. And there's a connection between Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7. Daniel was very troubled by these things, and he kept these matters in his heart. Well, they were not fulfilled in his time. They've been fulfilled up to the time of Jesus, and right up to the time when the Christians were actually persecuted, even in the time of the Reformation. It's comforting to know that what God has promised in times past has happened and is happening, and what God has promised for the future will actually really happen. And we take these promises to heart, knowing that there is a future kingdom that is now present and is going to be totally fulfilled when Jesus Christ comes as King of Kings and Lord of Lords.